catch up on the happenings around the league. It's the Elite Wire with Bradley.
Yo, what is up, Madden Elite? Bradley here. We are back at it with a special edition of The Wire. This edition of The Wire is special because it is our Super Bowl, our season number 5 Super Bowl preview show. Both of the conference championships are now in the bag, and we are looking at the front door of the Season 5 Super Bowl of Madden Elite. We don't have a time 100% locked down yet, but we are looking at tomorrow evening, and most likely Snipes will be running the stream for us. We're just working on getting that final lockdown of all of the details, but the way it's looking pretty set in stone, but more info will be made available as soon as we have it. The Season 5 Super Bowl, though, Kanyu dominated his way through the playoffs, and he will be representing Kanyu, and his Eagles will be representing the NFC in the Season 5 playoffs. As for the AFC, it's a guy I never doubted. I never stopped believing in him. I believed in him every step of the way, and that is Orion or OC. Orion has once again returned to the playoffs. Orion is going back to the dance. He won our season, I believe it was Season 3 Super Bowl. He dominated his way through the playoffs. He rode Joe Mixon all the way to the Season 3 Super Bowl, and then he rode Joe Mixon all the way through the Super Bowl, and he pulled it in. He went as the underdog, and he pulled it in, and he got it done. So, the way it's matching up, we got OC and his Bengals, Orion and his Bengals, colliding with Kanyu and his Eagles. Who do I have in the game? Who am I going with? Who is my pick? I believe I know who my pick is. We're going to walk through things, though. We're going to look at both teams. We're going to look at the road they've had this season. We're going to look at what they're bringing to the table. And in the end of things, I will make my selection known. Right off the bat, let's talk about the schedule these guys had. Let's talk about the road that these two guys had to the playoffs. When we look at the strength of schedule, going into season number 5, we have, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Orion and his Bengals had unlucky number 13 strength of schedule, sitting at a .531. That is still on the upside of what teams had the hardest schedules. But when you look at Kanyu and his Eagles, he is setting on top of this graphic with a .59. A .59. Hands down, Kanyu. Kanyu had the toughest schedule in the league. It wasn't even close. And when you look at strength of schedules, like graphics like this, .59 is ridiculous. You look at the NFL strength of schedule graphics like this, there's not even a team that has a strength of schedule that high. Kanyu's strength of schedule going into this, the teams he played, the cards were stacked against him. By all logic, this man should not be in the playoffs. But here he is. He is in the playoffs. Not only did he make it the playoffs, but he's climbed his way through the NFC. And he's in the big dance. And he's going up against one of the AFC North powerhouses. He's going up against a team from that stacked AFC North. A man that has already been to the bowl once and has already won one title. When we look at their strength of schedules, Kanyu's running away with this. Let's take a moment, though. And look at the actual schedules they played. Daddy League's giving me some stupid ad, like they're annoying. This one's probably like the most annoying one. What the heck is Daddy League's doing? I tried to pull up the schedule and Completely change the URL to some ad. Daddy Leagues is... it's fine. All right. So, OC, right off the bat, his schedule started out week 1 losing to Cobra. He then goes on to get killed by Shonish Chargers, then beats Jumper, a game he should have won, loses to Chuck, beats Boss, beats J-Mac. J-Mac was the reigning defending Elite World Super Bowl champion of the world. But let's move on. Let's move on. He then beats Estrada, loses to Bread, beats Fun Guy, beats Mex. Oh my goodness. We're going to have to come back to this and look at this. I'm going to make a note of this so we don't forget it. But he gets killed by Kanyu in week 12. Gets killed by Kanyu 41-15. Ugh. Beats Estrada. Beats Jumper. Beats Jeff. Beats Alex. Okay, we're going to make a note of that. Beats Alex. Beats BGZ. Beats Watts. Beats Stock. And it doesn't look like the all those were that was a playoff game. We haven't synced it yet. Looking at his schedule though, there's only one win that makes me stop and say, okay, he's beating top talent. Like he had a win against Chuck, but he's played Chuck so many times, and he beat Chuck in the playoffs and the conference championships. But when I look at his schedule, like a lot of like the big games, he's losing. Like, look at the start of his season. Those were some of his biggest games. He loses to Cobra. He loses to Show. He loses to Chuck. Also, yeah. Like, we jump down. We look at his game against Bread. He lost to Bread. And then that Week 12 game against... that Week 12 game... That Week 12 game was rough. We're gonna take another look at that. We're gonna pull up the stats for that game here in a moment. Before we pull up the stats to that game, though, let's take a hot moment and check out Kanyu's schedule. So Kanyu beats South, which is, in my opinion, a top 5 player in the league. He beats Jew. He beats Jeff. Loses to Alex, which has been to a Super Bowl. Also, OC did beat Alex. That was his one win that made me say, okay, you beat a top guy. He loses to True Talent, which is he went 9-7, but he's also in that NFC North. But he's always a playoff high performing playoff team. Beats GPH, loses to Jumper, beats Estrada. He beats, I believe at the time that was me as the Saints, killed me. Loses to Cobra, kills OC, loses to Alex again, beats Beeman 24-10. I believe that was Beeman's first loss of the season in week 14. Goes on to put a whipping on Fun Guy. Oh my gosh, look at this game versus Cobra. He slaughters Cobra 61-18. Ow. Ooh, I'm cringing a little bit. Kills Jeff. I mean, who doesn't? I beat Jeff, right? Beats Lou. Beats South. And then in the NFC Championship, kills Cobra for the third time this season, 42-13. When I look at Kanyu's schedule, not only did he go in with this unrealistically tough schedule, but he dominated the entire way through. Like when I look at Orion's schedule, I see games when I see him winning a lot of games, but when he's matched up against the top guys, he struggles to get the wins. You look at Kanyu's schedule, it's practically nothing but top guys, and he's continually beating them. Let's go through and see who his losses were to. All right, so Alex, a loss against Alex. Well, I take that back. I said he swept Cobra, but there is a loss against Cobra, but he beat him 2 other times. So that's a loss to Cobra. A loss to Jumper. Jumper's a game he should have won. A loss to True Talent. And Alex. So Alex twice, Cobra once, Jumper, and there was someone else. However, when we look at like the teams he's beat South, he's beat Jew. He beat, let's see, Orion, Beeman, Fun Guy. He slaughtered Fun Guy. That huge win there against Cobra. Beat Lou and beat South again, and then slaughtered Cobra in the playoffs. Like when I look at their schedules, Kanyu's is a lot more impressive. And I'm not trying to like throw jabs and throw shades. Like, oh, this is an unrehearsed like view. Like I'm going into this no prep. I'm just like, okay, let's sit down and let's get my reaction to how these guys' seasons went. And when I look at what Kanyu's done this season, it is insanely impressive. Let's look at the big game from week 12. So we got the big game from week 12 when Kanyu and OC already played. So Kanyu won this game 41-15. Looking at the stats, Josh Allen, 17 for 20, near perfection. 299 yards, 4 touchdowns, 1 interceptions. Mac had 16 rushes for 43 yards and a touchdown, so he struggled on the ground. However, through the air, he got it done, was efficient, practically perfect. On the other hand, though, Burrow threw 2 picks. Mixon, what was he doing? 5 rushes for 76 yards from Mixon? What was he doing? Did Mixon get hurt? All I can think is, actually I can think a couple things. One, probably got down early, right? Probably got down early and was forced to pass. Maybe Mixon got hurt early in the game, and maybe he had a dev game for somebody else and he was feeding someone else. But it doesn't look like that, because when I look at the receptions, like it doesn't look like anyone was forcefully fed. Like this guy, Gillespie or whatever, had 2 receptions. Mixon had 3. Buckhalter had 2. Boyd 1. Ross 2. Cup 1. Hunt 2. But wait a minute. It looks like, I was going to say maybe it does look like Mixon got hurt because Kareem Hunt is his backup. 2 attempts for 12 yards. That backup, though, is probably going to come in handy, because I don't have all the details. I don't exactly know what went down exactly, but from what I have heard through the grapevine, it's not reflective here because Daddy Leagues hasn't been updated. But you see where it says injured players? Actually, it says injury players. Hey, Daddy Leagues, that should probably say injured players, but we'll go with it. Injury players. There's somebody added to this. Orion, if you're watching this, I'm sorry. Like this got to suck for you super bad. But I'm sorry. I can't keep a straight face. Okay, I'm going to try and do this. I'm going to try and keep a straight face. OC is going into this game without Joe Mixon. Joe Mixon is injured. That's right. Joe Mixon is injured. He's going into this game without Joe Mixon. So, I mean, this game against Kanyu where Kanyu slaughtered him, right? We see what happens. This game is reflective of what happens when OC doesn't have Mixon. And when we look at OC's first playoff run where he went all the way through the playoffs in season 3, made it to the Super Bowl and won it, he did it all on the back of Joe Mixon. So, and sometimes people accuse Orion of being one-dimensional. Well, now Orion, you get your chance. You get to come in here. You get to have this game without your top guy. You have a chance to shut the naysayers up. And now there are people that would be like, "No, this is just unfair. This is unfair. This is unfair to Orion. He doesn't have his star player." Need I remind you what J-Mac did in season 4? He went to the playoffs and he lost his top player in the playoffs as well, which was his running back, a 90 overall running back. And might I tell you, that was his only 90 overall player on his team at the time. So he went into the Super Bowl with not even a player rated 90 overall and matched up against Beeman's death squad and beat them. So Orion coming into this, yes, it sucks he doesn't have Mixon. But in the end of the day, like, you got to have more than just one player. So we're going to see what Orion can do without his top guy. Thankfully, he does have a quality backup. He's sitting with Kareem Hunt as the backup guy. Only a star dev, so no abilities. So J-Mac didn't have a running back with abilities when he won his Super Bowl. So, hey, looking at him, though, looking at his backups, Kareem Hunt's probably going to get most of the load. Behind him, we have Andrew Ayers. No idea who that is. I'm assuming maybe a Madden Gym player. Yep. And then we have this little speed crap back, 93 speed. So that should be fun. Apologies for the dogs in the background if you can hear them. In the end of the day, as we wrap this up, who do I have in this game? I mean, if you haven't caught on, what are you doing? You're not paying attention. I got Kanyu. Sorry, Orion. Peace. Good luck, guys.